There is a kind of pain that is rarely spoken aloud. It is not the pain of loss, nor of absence. It is the pain of someone who tries, but nothing changes. Of someone who prays, writes, visualizes, repeats affirmations, and even so, life insists on remaining the same. This silent pain is one of the deepest in the human spirit, knowing there is something greater within, yet feeling imprisoned in a body and a routine that seem unable to keep up. It is as if there were a tension between two forces. On one side, elevated intention, that inner call that whispers, "You were born for more." And on the other, the body accustomed to the old pattern, moving on autopilot, repeating the same gestures, the same thoughts, the same emotions. You feel the call, but you cannot cross the portal. And in that space between what you dream and what you can sustain, discouragement is born. Carl Jung said that habits are the footprints of the unconscious, tracks that reveal what the mind tries to hide. Reality, according to him, does not repeat what you want, but what you have not integrated. Every behavioral pattern, every repeated cycle, is a living expression of the unseen parts of the psyche, the shadows, the complexes, the invisible loyalties that keep you bound to the old. When the soul wants to evolve, but the unconscious still fears losing control, this feeling of blockage arises. It is not failure, it is energetic friction between the old and the new. Bruce Lipton, a cell biologist and pioneer of epigenetics, explained the same phenomenon from another angle. Beliefs are epigenetic software. They do not exist only in the mind, they live in the cells, instructing biology on how to behave. And here is the key point. 21 days are not a magic number, but a window of biological recoding. It is the minimum time necessary for emotion, attention, and repetition to come into coherence and open the brain to neuroplasticity. The common mistake is to turn this window into superstition, believing that just repeat something for 21 days and life will change. But 21 days do not create magic. They create environment. It is the space where the body learns to trust the new, as long as you do not force it, because the body does not change under euphoria, but under safety. This is the difference between myth and method. The true process is not a mystical stopwatch, but a protocol of physiological and symbolic coherence. It is the moment when you teach the body that it does not need to fight to evolve, that it can finally relax into the new state. Joe Dispenza, our symbolic guest in this episode, calls this rehearsing the future now. Before the result happens, the body needs to memorize the corresponding state. When you feel before you see, the brain and the heart come into sync, and reality begins to reorganize to confirm what the body already believes. What you are about to hear in this video is not just another technique. It is a psychobiological rite of passage. For 21 days or as long as necessary, you will understand how to unite Jungian psychology, epigenetics, and spiritual neuroscience to create real, not illusory, change. You will learn that the universe does not respond to what you ask. It responds to the frequency you sustain. And when body, emotion, and mind vibrate in the same rhythm, reality has no choice but to align. This video is the sign. Not that external sign you're waiting for, but the internal one. The one that arises when the soul decides it is time. You are not hearing this by chance. Your reality is about to change. Because you, deep down, have already begun to change. There is a kind of prison so subtle that most people never realize they are inside it. It is not a prison of walls, nor of chains. It is a prison of identity. You try to change your habits, want to become someone more disciplined, more confident, more prosperous. But deep down, you still vibrate with the old self-image. I am disorganized. I have no focus. That's not for me. These phrases seem harmless, but they are codes of permanence. They keep yesterday's vibration active, even when the heart already longs for tomorrow. Carl Jung said the unconscious is the true screenwriter of life. He writes the roles you perform. And if the unconscious identity is still trapped in the old role, you will keep acting out the same story, only with different costumes. External reality is just the mirror of what you believe you are internally. This is the invisible block. Trying to build the new from the self that belongs to the past. It is like trying to write a new chapter without changing the ink. The result is always the same story, in different words. The Galatea effect, little discussed but profoundly true, explains this. Internal expectations shape performance far more than external ones. You act according to what you believe about yourself, not what you want to be, but what you allow yourself to be. And the brain reinforces this pattern through a structure called the basal ganglia, the hub responsible for automatic habits. It records everything that is repeated, a gesture, a thought, an emotion. These elements form the habit circuit, cue, routine, reward. And the more you repeat a behavior sustained by the same identity, the deeper that track becomes. That is why willpower alone does not change anyone. It is only conscious effort trying to fight an unconscious army. And the more you push, the more the unconscious resists. Here is the expectation breaker. Increasing willpower only amplifies friction. Because the problem was never a lack of discipline, it was a lack of identity updating. The unconscious needs new instructions, not punishment. Before changing behavior, you need to change who executes it. And this is done through a simple and symbolic practice, the "Who am I being?" technique in 12 words. Before any action, declare aloud, "I am someone who honors 10 minutes of writing at 7 a.m. I am someone who moves with calm and purpose. I am someone who tends to the new with lightness." These 12 words are more than sentences. They are vibrational keys. They instruct the unconscious about who is acting, and the brain, which seeks coherence, begins to align behavior, emotion, and biology with this new identity. You are not saying what you will do. You are stating who you are being, and being precedes doing. That is why, when you change the way of being, behavior changes naturally, like a reflection. The metaphor is clear. Changing habits without changing identity is swapping the frame without changing the painting. You alter the appearance, but the essence remains the same. The wall may be new, but the picture is the same. Jung said, "Until you bring the unconscious to consciousness, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And that is exactly what happens when we try to change without looking within. The past drives the present, and the future becomes a repetition in another color. Real transformation is not the fruit of effort, but of coherence between what you feel, think, and do. And that coherence is born from identity. When you begin to declare and feel who you are being now, the body reorganizes, the cells perceive the new command, the energetic field responds. And slowly, yesterday's vibration dissolves into the now. Because the unconscious does not change when you confront it. It changes when you convince it, and you convince it through compassionate repetition. The one that says tenderly, "I am no longer that. I allow myself to be different." This is the first real sign of change, when body and mind begin to act as if the new were already familiar. It is the moment when the soul begins to feel at home within what once seemed impossible. The invisible block unravels when identity vibrates in the present. And reality, as a reflection, reorganizes to keep pace. Every journey begins with a spark, a moment of euphoria, of clarity, of purpose. You feel an inner call, make plans, set goals, and believe. Now it's happening. But a few weeks later, the enthusiasm fades. The initial glow disappears, and the mind begins to negotiate with the old pattern. This oscillation is not weakness, it is neurobiology. And understanding this changes everything. The human brain is a machine that loves novelty but fears change. It releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter of pleasure and motivation, whenever you start something. This is the phase of impulse, fervor, excitement. But dopamine is short-lived energy. It lights the fire but does not keep it burning. The true fuel of transformation comes after the enthusiasm. It is the moment when the glow fades and what remains is what Jung called the night phase of the soul, the silent work of constancy. In this stage, another substance takes the stage, acetylcholine. It does not create euphoria, but stability. It is what allows sustained attention, focus, and quality repetition. While dopamine seeks the pleasure of beginnings, acetylcholine builds the pleasure of continuity. But there is a challenge. The brain does not want to change too fast. It operates according to what neuroscience calls prediction error. This means it tries to reduce surprises as much as possible. Anything that deviates from the known pattern is interpreted as a threat. That is why big behavioral leaps trigger the internal alarm, and the nervous system reacts, trying to push you back to what is familiar, even if the familiar hurts. It is the survival instinct overriding the evolution instinct. And that is why, to change, you should not force. You should ritualize. The spiritual mind and the biological brain speak different languages, but both understand rhythm. The brain needs predictability, and the soul needs presence. When both walk together, the new becomes natural. Therefore, the myth of enthusiasm needs to fall. Excitement is not transformation, it is only the opening of the door. What builds change is anchoring, the sum of attention, repetition, and emotional stability. And here comes a precious revelation. Ritualized micro-victories defeat occasional mega-sprints. Spiritual and neurological progress is like the beating of waves, constant, patient, insistent. You do not need intensity, you need frequency. For this, use the 3-step anchoring technique. Fixed cue. Choose a specific time and place for the practice. This creates safety. The brain knows when to expect change. Minimal, invariant action. Limit yourself to 2 to 5 minutes. It is enough to overcome inertia without triggering the resistance alarm. Somatic closure. Finish with 4 to 7 to 8 breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This pattern activates the vagus nerve, reduces cortisol, and signals to the body. I am safe. I can continue. This sequence seems simple, but it is deeply symbolic. It represents what Jung would call the individuation process in miniature, recognizing the impulse, sustaining the middle, and integrating the end. Dopamine starts the path. Acetylcholine paves it, and consciousness observes, transforming repetition into ritual. Neuroscience calls this context-dependent neuroplasticity. But in spiritual language, it means this: you create a new reality when the body begins to trust the new rhythm. You do not turn a ship's rudder with a jolt. You turn it slowly, with steady pressure, until the ocean obeys. And when the vessel changes course, there is no spectacle, there is only direction. The same happens within you. Each small gesture of constancy repositions the compass of the unconscious. Conscious repetition is the highest form of prayer. And this is where science and spirituality meet. Both recognize that the sacred lies in continuity. What you repeat with attention becomes your vibrational signature. And when the vibration stabilizes, the universe reorganizes around it. Enthusiasm is the first step, but serenity sustains the way. Dopamine opens the journey, but it is acetylcholine, this quiet presence, that turns it into destiny. There is a quiet truth that few understand. You do not change your life when you change your thought. You change your life when you change the state of the body that sustains the thought. How many times have you repeated positive phrases, visualized the future, made affirmations in front of the mirror, and still felt emptiness? One part of you said the right words, but another, much deeper, kept doubting. That part is the body. Bruce Lipton showed us that beliefs do not live in the mind. They live in the cells. Each cell is a small brain, a living unit that responds to frequencies, emotions, and chemical states. And beliefs, whether conscious or unconscious, function as epigenetic software, instructing biology on what to express. In other words, the body is the screen onto which the unconscious is projected. Every time you feel fear, doubt, shame, or helplessness, the body records it as an instruction. It prepares to survive, not to create. And that is why, often, even with the mind desiring the new, the body keeps repeating the old. The body believes the old is the safe place. The most common mistake is trying to change beliefs with reasoning alone. But belief is not logical, it is emotional and somatic. It is imprinted in the muscles, in the breath, in the gaze, in the way you walk. You can say, "I trust," but if the body is in a defensive posture, the unconscious hears another message. "I am still afraid." It is like trying to change the radio station by turning the dial while the antenna is not connected. You do not hear the new song because the body is still tuned to the old frequency. Lipton explains that changing beliefs is a process of epigenetic reprogramming, and this only happens when emotion, attention, and physiology align. When you feel what you say. When the body participates in the new state. For this, there is a simple and transformative technique, the 90-second epigenetic script. It is not a long meditation, nor a forced affirmation. It is a small somatic ritual where body and mind learn the same language. It works like this. Open posture. Relax your shoulders, uncross your legs, lift your chest slightly. The body needs to perceive it is safe and receptive. Slow nasal breathing. Inhale deeply, counting to 4. Feel the air enter as if it were new information. Hold for a moment, then exhale gently as one who releases an old pattern. Functional phrase. Plus, bodily signal. Say the belief you want to embody, but connect it to a physical sensation. For example, "I trust," and feel your jaw relax. "I deserve," and feel your chest expand. "I am ready," and notice warmth rising through your shoulders. During those 90 seconds, do not worry about believing, just feel. You are not teaching something to the mind. You are teaching something to the body. And the body is the true vehicle of materialization. As you practice, observe what happens inside. Resistance may arise, or emotion, or peace. Everything is information. Each breath is a recoding signal. Little by little, the body begins to associate the new belief with a state of safety. And when that happens, biology changes. Hormones balance, the nervous system relaxes, the heart's electromagnetic field expands. This coherence sends a new message to the cells. The new is safe. We can thrive. Heard it. Lipton calls this an internal environment of coherence, the state in which the body becomes the laboratory of the soul. There is no struggle, only tuning. The cell behaves like an antenna, picking up the vibrational field of the emotion you repeat with presence. And here is the secret. The body does not understand words. It understands inner climate. You can repeat, "I am abundant," 1,000 times. But if the body vibrates tension and fear, it continues to emit the frequency of scarcity. But if you breathe deeply, feel your chest warm, and repeat, "I trust," calmly, the body believes. And when the body believes, the universe responds. This is epigenetic alchemy. It is not thinking differently, it is feeling differently. It is not imagining the new, it is inhabiting the new. The 90-second script is not just a technique, it is a daily ritual of reconciliation between mind and body. A reminder that spirituality does not occur in ideas, but in flesh. Each time you practice it, you teach your biology the language of faith. And gradually, without visible effort, the body begins to vibrate another story. You feel lighter, more present, calmer. The once noisy mind falls quiet, and in that silence, the true sign emerges. The quiet certainty that the new has already begun. Because the body, finally, believes. At a certain point along the path, something begins to move within you. At first, change seems easy. There is clarity, motivation, purpose. But then, something invisible awakens. You begin to feel a strange resistance, fatigue that arrives without reason, a laziness that seems logical, the not today that comes with perfect justifications. This is refined self-sabotage, and behind it lives the shadow. Carl Jung said the shadow is everything you have rejected about yourself, everything that did not fit your image of a good, strong, spiritual, capable person. Parts of the soul left in the penumbra, yet still alive, trying to participate in existence somehow. The shadow does not want your failure. It wants to be recognized. It disguises itself as resistance, procrastination, doubt, guilt. But deep down, it only tries to preserve what it believes to be safety. Jung called these unconscious nuclei autonomous complexes, small internal personalities with a will of their own. You say, "I want to change," but another part replies, "It is not safe." And that part usually wins, because it acts before thought. Self-sabotage is not a lack of willpower. It is an archaic protection mechanism. The unconscious tries to keep you in the known zone, even if it hurts, because the unknown represents risk. Thus, the body, the mind, and the energetic field conspire. Not against you, but for you. They believe they are saving you from something. Most people try to fight this shadow. I need to eliminate my fears. I have to get rid of laziness. I will fight my blocks. But Jung taught the opposite. You do not defeat the shadow, you integrate it. What you fight grows. What you welcome transforms. This is the transcendent function, the meeting point between opposites. It is when the conscious I and the unconscious shadows stop fighting and begin to dialogue. Fear ceases to be an obstacle and becomes a counselor. Doubt turns into prudence. Resistance converts into strength. But for this, you need to talk to the shadow, literally. Try the two-chair dialogue practice. Sit in one chair and speak as the part of you that wants to change. Say, "I want to evolve. I want to create something new. I want to be consistent." Then switch chairs and respond as the part that resists. "I only want to protect you. I fear you will be frustrated, hurt, exhausted." Listen. Do not interrupt. Then return to the first chair and ask, "How can we protect what you fear, but with a smaller and safe habit?" This simple conversation has the power to dissolve years of self-sabotage, because deep down, every shadow is a poorly expressed attempt at love. It just has not learned another way to care for you. By giving the shadow a function, you enact what Jung called psychic alchemy. The lead of fear fuses with the gold of consciousness. What was a block becomes structure. What was pain becomes direction. The image is clear. The alchemist does not throw away the lead. He heats it until it turns into an alloy. The heat is consciousness. And the more you are willing to observe your own patterns with love, the purer the inner gold becomes. During the 21 days, or in any process of change, this alchemy happens all the time. The first days are of light. Then comes the weight. But the weight is not the enemy. It is the fire of transformation. It is melting what needs to be fused. This is where many people give up, thinking something went wrong. But in fact, it is the opposite. This is where change truly begins. It is the sign that the unconscious is moving, that the old self is giving way to the new. Jung said that the soul becomes luminous when it recognizes the darkness within itself. And that is exactly what happens when you look at your shadow without fear. Resistance dissolves, energy circulates again, and the soul integrates. This is the spiritual alchemy of materialization, transforming fear into wisdom, guilt into gentleness, limitation into creative strength. Nothing is discarded, everything is recycled into consciousness. Deep down, the shadow does not want to stop you from changing. It wants to walk with you, like an ancient guardian who, out of love, needs to learn a new way to serve. And when you welcome it, fear kneels before the light. The part that's sabotaged begins to cooperate. And for the first time, you feel, I am not divided. That is how true transformation begins. Not when the shadow disappears, but when it finally returns home. As you approach transformation, the process ceases to be merely psychological. It becomes energetic. Jung would say it is the moment when the unconscious begins to respond to consciousness like a luminous mirror. And Joe Dispenza translates this phenomenon into scientific language: electromagnetic coherence. The heart, according to the HeartMath Institute, is not just a physical organ. It is a powerful electromagnetic center capable of emitting a field about 60 times stronger than that of the brain. And this field changes shape according to the emotional state you sustain. When the heart is in fear, anger, or tension, the field becomes chaotic and the brain loses sync. But when the heart vibrates gratitude, presence, and trust, brainwaves come into harmony. This state is called heart-brain coherence. Joe Dispenza explains, the body is the instrument that translates the invisible into physical reality. When there is coherence, the entire body begins to vibrate in a single direction. The cells receive the same message. The nervous system stops defending and starts creating. The future, in this state, is no longer a hope. It is a frequency already being emitted. But there is a common mistake. Many people practice visualizations, repeat phrases, imagine results, yet without feeling. The mind wants, but the body refuses. And without coherent emotion, thought is just noise in the field. Materialization does not happen because you think the new, but because you feel the new as real. The body is the altar of faith. It needs to memorize the future before living it. Therefore, the essential practice is simple but sacred: coherence breathing. Choose a moment of your day, preferably in the morning or before bed. Sit in silence. Place one hand over your heart. Inhale deeply for 6 seconds. Feel the air expanding your chest. Exhale also for 6 seconds, slowly, as one who dissolves the past. Repeat this rhythm for 5 minutes, and as you breathe, bring to mind a specific memory of gratitude. It can be something small: a loved one's laughter, a moment of peace, an instant when you felt alive. Gratitude has a unique vibrational signature. It is the emotion of abundance already received. As gratitude grows, the heart changes shape. Heart rate variability rises. The nervous system enters resonance. And in that instant, the brain begins to synchronize its waves with the heart's rhythm. The whole body becomes a coherent field. And in that field, the energy you emit gains power. It is as if the universe began to hear more clearly what you are asking, not with words, but with vibration. Dispenza calls this functional mental rehearsal. After creating coherence with the breath, visualize the first micro-action of the habit you want to incorporate. See yourself in detail: the environment, the sound, the posture, the gesture. Feel the body already doing it. Feel the lightness, the confidence, the naturalness. The secret is not to imagine a distant future, but the present in coherent action. Because the body only learns what is lived, and imagination, when accompanied by the true emotion, is a form of living. This few-minute practice is, in truth, a ritual of vibrational reprogramming. It transforms the chaotic field into an ordered field and the body into a transmitter of conscious energy. When practiced consistently, something begins to change effortlessly. You notice more synchronicities. The right people appear. Situations flow more easily, and most importantly, you feel a new peace. The sense that you no longer need to push the world, because the world now moves with you. Joe Dispenza teaches, when the heart and brain are in coherence, the body becomes the instrument of the soul. And that is exactly it. Coherence is the bridge between the invisible and the material. It is the energetic language of the universe. There is no force greater than a body in harmony with the heart. No request is more powerful than the vibration of someone who already feels complete. You are not trying to make the future happen. You are becoming the future. And when your frequency changes, the world has no choice. It must change too. This is true materialization, not the control of reality, but alignment with the reality already compatible with your new state. Daily coherence is your cultivation field, and each breath in gratitude is a seed planted in the invisible. Over time, the universe blossoms from the inside out. The heart is the portal, and when it vibrates love, the entire cosmos reorganizes to respond. A. Integrative synthesis, Bruce Lipton plus Neville Goddard. Everything you have heard so far converges on a single truth. External reality is only the mirror of your internal state. Bruce Lipton showed us that beliefs are not ideas. They are cellular instructions. Each coherent emotion, each thought repeated with intention, sends a biological command to the cells. The body begins to behave according to the dominant belief. Neville Goddard, in his mystical language, said the same in another way. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not wait for something to happen to feel different. Feel now so that the world happens in resonance with it. When Bruce Lipton speaks of epigenetics and Neville speaks of creative imagination, both are pointing to the same law. Coherence between belief, body, and emotion is the portal to the new. Transformation does not require blind effort. It requires a coherent state, rhythmic repetition, and a compatible identity. More than willpower, it is vibrational tuning. That is why the secret is not doing more. It is being in fullness what you wish to live. Take this phrase as a compass. I practice being the one who sustains the result before the result. This is the purest definition of faith. Acting as if the universe were already responding, because in fact, it already is. B. Beware of spiritual perfectionism, but there is an essential reminder. Spiritual perfectionism is a trap disguised as virtue. It makes you believe you must be impeccable to evolve, and when you fail, you condemn yourself. This self-demand is the ego dressed in light. It says, you are only worthy if you do not err. But Jung would remind us, individuation happens when the self embraces its failures. Perfection is static. Humanity is the field where the divine learns to breathe. If you miss a day in the process, do not reset, resume. Constancy is not rigidity. It is compassionate reconnection. Therefore, use the 10-minute protocol. Lost your rhythm? Just return to the first micro-action, the small gesture that symbolizes the restart. No need to compensate, no need to punish yourself. Just resume. The spiritual path is not made of uninterrupted victories, but of conscious returns. With each return, the body learns that love is stronger than guilt. Compassionate constancy triumphs over rigid constancy, because coherence does not arise from perfection, it arises from forgiveness. C. Practical indicators that reality is changing. And then comes the point everyone awaits: how to know it is working, how to perceive that something is truly moving in the invisible. Change rarely begins with miracles. It begins with subtle signs. You start sleeping better. The body calms more quickly after stress. The heart responds with presence instead of reactivity. Synchronicities increase. You think of someone and that person appears. Small coincidences begin to align, as if the universe had sharpened its focus. But the greatest sign is internal, the growing ease of doing what once required effort. The habit's first action, previously heavy, now flows naturally. That is when the body stops resisting the new and begins to cooperate. These are the signs of the new reality forming. It is not a shout from the universe, it is a sigh from the body. When you feel more lightness, more silence, more trust, it is because the field has already reorganized. D. Functional 21-day plan, simple script. Now the plan, simple but sacred. Days 1 to 7. Stabilize context. Same time, same place, same duration. The goal is not intensity, it is predictability. The body needs to feel safe. Choose a physiological marker to track. Sleep, focus, mood. Observe without judgment. Days 8 to 14. Consolidate identity in action. Before the practice, say aloud, I am someone who honors the new with presence. Keep the daily micro-actions. Finish with somatic closure. 4, 7, 8. Breathing. This is the phase of neural consolidation. The brain begins to understand that the new is the new normal. Days 15 to 21. Felt evidence. Now, record sensations after each practice. Warmth in the hands, relaxation in the chest, inner calm. These sensations are the true thermometer of change. At night, practice the Neville rehearsal. Imagine the habit already incorporated. Feel the body as if the new were already old. And at the end of 21 days, do not stop. Evolve by 10 to 20% per week. Extend the time. Deepen presence. Keep the rhythm. The body loves the predictable. Give it the structure to keep growing. E. Final symbolic image to carry. Imagine yourself walking through an open field at dawn. The sky slowly changes color, and the light touches the earth for the first time. You breathe deeply and realize everything is the same, and yet everything is different. The grass is the same. The wind is the same. But there is something new in you. A quiet calm, a certainty without explanation. That is true change. It does not happen with fireworks. It happens with silence and coherence. The greenhouse protects the seedling until it takes root. The body, in coherence, is that greenhouse. And the habit, repeated with love, is the seedling that becomes a tree. The firm helm of small daily actions changes the course of the ship of reality, without haste, without spectacle. And one day, you look around and realize the sea is different, but the captain is the same, only more conscious. This is the true sign that your reality will change when your body stops resisting what your soul has already decided to be. Do not wait for external miracles. They have already begun within you. And everything that is true, sooner or later, manifests in the world. Because the universe does not respond to words. It responds to the vibration of one who has already become the new.